Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Come on in. That was a pretty quick transition there from the TikTok over here to the YouTube. But we're in our happy place now. So, oh my goodness gracious. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I did just hop over to the TikTok. I know a lot of people were wondering where I went, so I just wanted to make sure that they knew I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm just in my summer home. Yes, yes. This is where I will be doing most of my lives. Yep. Yesterday I did a couple over on the talk, and I may do that occasionally. Kind of step in and remind everybody I'm still here, but I would like to eventually make the move back over here. So yes. And again, it's just because there's so many questions going on regarding the talk. And honestly, it's been a lot easier for me to stream over here because I don't have to censor my words. And especially because Miss Lively's case is a very delicate case. We have to make sure I'm careful about that. So, I'm just happy to be back on hanging out with everybody. So welcome, welcome in, welcome in. All right, so tonight I will be going through the next piece of. Glad you popped up. Yes, exactly, exactly. I thought that would be helpful. I know a lot of people just didn't know that I had made the change over here. And a lot of creators are actually having some troubles with their lives over on TikTok. A lot of them are getting community guidelines violations and having their lives pulled down. I think it's really showing that there is a particular kind of influence going on over there that might not be very friendly towards those of us doing this. So I figured, well, instead of dealing with that, I'll just come on over here, which has been very, very welcoming over here. Missed the first part. That's okay, Kaya. You'll catch up. You'll catch up. It's pretty quick. They do a really good job. Hello, Jim Marie. She does an amazing job, actually, in her complaint. Her attorneys are quite good. Hello, Kristen. Yes, hello, hello. Marie, hello. Trish, welcome. Betharoni, I love it. Quill, hello. Meme NATO. Let's see, Sharknado. Yikes, that's one of the best shows ever. I tell you what, that Sharknado series is so ridiculous. It was the only thing that gave me any comfort after the first time Mr. Trump was in office. I was like, I'm going away. I'm going into the corner. I'm just going to watch Sharknado. Just like every single one of them back to back. I was like, okay, I'm existing still. I'm still here. Oh my goodness gracious. Really, Westmoreland really is talking about the amount of votes. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's definitely everyone. There's some hinky business going on over there on the talk. I don't mind coming and hanging out, but on the other hand, I also don't want to have all of my content pulled, because people can still go and look things up. Like today, one of my biggest, most watched posts is the Obergefell case, where I go through and explain what's going on there. So I think it's, hopefully can be used as an educational resource for other countries and other people. We love that. So I don't want to have to have my account completely pulled. So I'm kind of tiptoeing there through the tulips. Yes, hi Charlie, welcome. Welcome in. Oh, the squirrel in me. Oh, I love it. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I was wondering what happened. Yeah, you were in it and then it was just gone. Yeah, and he's not the only one. Hello, Boxer Mom. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one. I know a lot of other creators are struggling, and when I did my 2 lives yesterday on TikTok, I was doing a good morning hello, and which I will be posting over here on YouTube. And then I did an evening review of the Mississippi proposed legislation. Again, I will be putting both of those lives up here soon. But I didn't have any problems with the TikTok then. But on the other hand, I've been having posts where I'll post and within the first few minutes, I'll get a violation. and then maybe 10 minutes later they'll revoke the violation. But it's yeah, I'm like, dude, I only had this up for 20 seconds. How is this a violation? So we just gotta be a little careful. Watching Trump's like watching a chimpanzee open a coconut. Oh, come on. Chimpanzees are awesome. I mean, they can rip your face off, but come on. That's not very nice for chimpanzees. Is the super chat what gives you the green name and blue star? So my green, I believe, for my green names, I've got the blue. Hello, Deborah. Welcome, welcome. The blue is for moderators. And then, yeah, the subscribers are in green, which, by the way, everyone, thank you so very, very much for the subscriptions. I had to get more paper. I finally got my new toner in, and then I was like, I don't have any paper. Had to get the paper. So, very thankful for that. I appreciate all of the support. Appreciate it so much. Yeah, and that I know all the ins and outs of that I'm not sure of, but I think probably a chat could chime in. Now it's free to subscribe here to YouTube so that you can get the notifications if you hit the bell that I am live. So that's very helpful. I always will post in the community tab, and I'm trying to post actually every single day to let you know if we're going to do a live or if I need to cancel. So that's kind of where I go every day to give a shout out and let everybody know that I am or am not going live and what the topic is. That's under the community tab, and that's available for anyone. So I'm trying to make sure that I have that ready for everyone. Now, the subscriptions, everybody, is set out for different kinds of extra benefits. So, depending on which level you're at, and it kind of graduates. So, I'm working on putting those kind of little extra goodies in there, and I'm hoping to fully launch everything for subscribers next week. So, you'll start to see some of those little, star moments next week. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay. Is everyone okay to already subscriber? So yeah, and I would say again over on the TikTok, I'm incredibly thankful for all of the support, but we just don't know where that's heading. So, do you have to subscribe to the whole I'm not sure. I think you've got to have some kind of contact information so they know something that you're actually a human in order to subscribe. But all of my information that I have put in there is just not my, like, you can't really trace me back that far because I have a couple of email accounts that are my safe email accounts and so on. So, welcome to Small. Hello. Welcome, welcome. There you go. Look at that. You got the green. Go for the green. Oh, we love it. We love it. Yes, I'm happy to be here on the tube. I had hoped actually to make the transition over here a couple months ago, but I kind of I had some health issues, so I got kind of off track. But and this is kind of for me like doing a podcast. So I'm still working and going forward on trying to get a podcast put together, everyone. But until I can have that up and running, for me, I feel like YouTube really provides that. So I'm really enjoying it. Yay, you're here. We love that. We love that. Yes, yes, I know. I know a lot of people have forgotten, and I have to tell you, everyone, there are a lot of safety features actually in the YouTube arena, and it's a lot more comfortable, really. John, yes. So I'm in the central time zone. So the middle of the United States is where I'm at. I don't give away specific information about my location because I have put people in prison and they may be getting out. So I'm just kind of careful about that. Here as we go. So let's go ahead, everyone. I'm keeping one eye here on the chat, making sure everyone's ever coming in okay. Thank you, Boxer Mom. I appreciate that. Uh, Yeah, I really do appreciate that quite a bit. So I've got one eye here on the chat, just peeking, and then the other one over here. So a couple things as part of the intro here today that I wanted to remind everybody about before we dive into the Lively case, which we will be diving straight in and getting into that information. But I want to remind everybody about the check that's in place for Mr. Trump when he is president, that I think a lot of people forget about. Sometimes we think, oh, Congress and the Supreme Court, good luck getting them to check him. But one thing that will be always in there because we have federalism are the state lawsuits. So this is just an overview if you want to check it out sometime of all of the 156 multi-state lawsuits filed against Mr. Trump during his first term. So it's okay if you missed the first part. You'll catch up real quick. You'll catch up. Anyway, just showing you again some of the topics. These were lawsuits brought against Mr. Trump's administration. So we have state and local tax deductions, separating children from parents, crossing the border. So that's our kids in cages case. Vehicle emission standards, DACA. There's actually two DACA cases. BTW. I am still working on that DACA post. Everything is moving so quickly. And there was just an order that came out just a few days ago. So it's taken me a little bit to keep everything put into place so I can update everyone. But that's coming. It's in the hopper. Next, we've got methane from drillers, census citizenship question, Affordable Care Act, Waters of the U.S., Net Neutrality, Clean Air Act, ICE officers. Again, these are all the lawsuits filed against Mr. Trump in his first administration. Education accountability standards, gainful employment rule, cost sharing reduction payments, the travel ban, another DACA case. So these are just, again, the highlights here. That's kind of weird that you're calling him daddy. That's gross. That's really weird. I know Deborah's gotcha, but I'm like, is that a thing, everybody? I mean, before I go forward, is that a thing? Am I missing something? Because I'm old school, and I'm like, that's kind of gross, man. What happens if the state wins their lawsuit? So does it mean it'll happen only to red states? No, great question. The state wins a lawsuit against an executive order or any kind of executive action. It means the executive action then is unconstitutional and is no longer allowed. So it is removed. Trump is your daddy. He's not. Gross. That's really gross. No. My dad is actually a Vietnam vet and was an assassin. I'm not supposed to say that, actually. Shh. Oh, dear. It all comes out when I'm going live, everyone. It all comes out. I apologize. Don't tell anybody. Sorry, Dad, if you're out there listening. Yikes. Rabbit hole last night with the Blake case and the PR. Really? Her company is also, yes. If you know about, Master Scooter was behind. Yes, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't, he's accustomed to having, oh my goodness. So this is a fascinating case. Again, I'm doing too many things at one time. I apologize, everybody. I need to stay on target. I'm like a squirrel. What? So yes, the Lively case, which I'll be jumping into in just a minute. So these are the last big ones, again, out of the states that have sued Mr. Trump during his first administration. We have an ozone rule, a borrower defense rule, energy efficiency requirements for freezers, air conditioner, and other appliances. That's kind of a really big deal. They really go after those appliances quite a bit. The California v. Zinc case, which is the coal lease ban, energy efficiency requirements for ceiling fans, right? That's important. And then another travel ban. So there are like 5 travel ban cases. So, and this doesn't even include US v. Hawaii, which was another travel ban case. So this is just kind of an FYI, everyone, reminding everybody that the states can file lawsuits against the administration when they feel that there's a problem. And today you probably have heard quite a bit about the funds being frozen, the federal funds, the loans, as well as grants across the board, which is just a weird situation to have. hold on here. Let me make sure. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. Just as an FYI, this is the memo that came out. And we've got at least 2 lawsuits going. We have a set of, I think, 20 to 23 states, can't quite remember, New York and California. So Letitia, Miss Letitia's back again. We love her. And California, they got together and then they said, hey, other AGs, are you out there? And there's quite a few. There's a lot of AGs involved in this now. Oh my gosh. So they came out and were like, no, this isn't okay. So that's been filed. And then we also have this nonprofit organization here. So we have these 3: National Council of Nonprofits, American Public Health Association, Main Street Alliance, and SAGE. These are the nonprofits that are suing. Again, the Office of Management and Budget is the place where Mr. Trump wants them to go and give all of this information, and the acting director. So this is a nonprofit set, and then we also have the AGs in the states. So 2 lawsuits are going after this so far. There could be more, but this is the memo, literally a 2-page memo to stop all of the federal funding. And there's some questions about Medicaid, Medicare. I apologize, I don't remember which one is the big question. They are different, but there's some big questions about that. And his press secretary person was like, I don't have an answer, I'll get back to you. Never got back to anybody. And so they're saying, well, Social Security benefits and those kinds of things aren't going to be affected. But quite frankly, because the way the memo is drafted, it's so broad that it's really not that clear. In my opinion, I'm like, actually it could go after these things. So I think they're trying to say, well, none of those personal things are going to be involved. But truly with this memo, it's got to get tightened up then to make sure it doesn't happen. So that's just a little FYI on that bologna sandwich situation going on there. So yikes, that's a lot. It's a lot. All right. So let's dive in. We've had quite a bit of time talking about, I do like to let everybody know and talk about what's been going on for current events. I did just do a post, by the way, on Chuck Grassley and Durbin, who are in the Judiciary Senate Committee piece. They wrote a letter to Mr. Trump regarding the Inspector Generals. We'll see what happens there. I think one of my what's happening, I did just do a post over on the talk on it, and people are like, ooh, a sternly worded letter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, at least it's something. Is it great? No. But is it something? At least it's something. Hello, John. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hi, Daisy. Good to see you. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Making people stay home. Oh, yeah. And so there's several things that are going on in the Trump world over there. But for tonight, let's head just into the legal world, everyone. So we can just shut the door on all of that, and then let's take a peek here. So I had started going through the Blake Lively lawsuit, and there is a lot of working pieces here. So the first live that I did, we just talked about kind of what was going on in the case, and then we started reading into the complaint. And I will catch everybody up. It's super easy to catch up on this case. But here is the lawsuit, if you're interested. There's the number, and it is on Court Listener, Lively versus Wayfair Studios. There's a whole group of people that are involved in the lawsuit. So this was filed December 31st. And then we have a countersuit, the same people against her. So we've got a countersuit involved. So they've got a story to tell as well. There is an answer, by the way, to her complaint. When you file in a civil case, you file a complaint. The other party has to file an answer stating, we agree. Nobody says we agree. Everybody always says, nope. But we'll go through that too. But we have a countersuit, and then we also have, and this is a huge countersuit, but we also have set out Mr. What's his name? Baldoni has also gone after the New York Times for the reporting. So we've got a lot of moving pieces in this case. Now but at first we've got to get an idea of what's going on. So that the best way to do it is to look to the first person that brought the case, which was Miss Lively, and she set out this complaint. which is a huge complaint, but incredibly well written. Very, very well written, in my opinion. Rumors say Trump wants protests called martial law. I'm not sure. I mean, martial law is tricky in the U.S. because we don't actually have a set of rules for martial law. I always say with martial law, what you need to look for is the suspension of habeas corpus. If the president's not suspending habeas corpus, then we're truly not in a martial law situation. But if he does suspend habeas corpus, which was done by Abraham Lincoln during the war, if he goes that far to declare habeas corpus, pull it off the table, then we're going to be in some trouble. We're actually going to need to start working on, we may have to leave for a little while. We'll see how that goes. We'll be getting in the bunker, everyone, at that point. Once habeas corpus gets suspended, that's really it. So that's what you need to look for. But until then, we're going to be okay, primarily because we have statutes in place saying the military is not allowed to take over local law enforcement. So yeah, we'll need the bunker. We'll need the bunker, everybody. If habeas corpus gets suspended in the United States, yeah, we're in big trouble. Big trouble, everyone. So let's just not think about it. Back into the case. So here we go. Again, when I first did the first piece, I just took everybody through it, but I think it's important to look again. We've got Miss Lively, and she is suing Wayfarer Studios, Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Sarowitz, I apologize if I'm not saying it right, Nathan, the agency group, PR. So we've got the press agencies that are spinning a lot of things. Jennifer Abel here, another communications company, RWA, Jed Wallace, and Street Relations, as well as Doe's 1 through 100. So these are the people that are the defendants, and or in court, we would refer to this as the respondent. So the petitioner and respondent's another way of saying it in civil court, but here they've got plaintiff and defendants. We've got 11 of these, I think, in there. And then her complaint that she has set out here, which is why this case is so fascinating. It just is the full scope of the legal system. We have a sexual harassment, retaliation, failure to investigate, prevent, or remedy harassment, retaliation, aiding and abetting harassment and retaliation. These are all state code violations that are being alleged. Breach of contract, intentional infliction of emotional distress, which is an intentional tort. A tort just means money's involved. The burden of proof is a preponderance of the evidence rather than beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the criminal standard. So that is an intentional tort. And then we have negligence. Negligence is another kind of tort, which has 4 elements: a duty, a breach of duty, causation, showing the link between the harm and the cause, and then a remedy is available. So these are 2 different kinds of tort law, actually. So the only thing that she would need would be products liability, and she would have like a full, what is it when the horse like goes and wins all the races? Is it a triple crown? We'd have a triple crown in tort law. I know I'm reaching, everybody, but I'm I'm working on it. No tang tonight, everyone. So we have we've got negligence. Okay, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. False light, invasion of privacy, and interference with prospective economic advantage. Those are some pretty significant pieces of law here. Again, going through California. These are very significant things that she's putting together. So again, just to catch everybody up who's joining tonight that wasn't here before, we went through the introduction piece, and one of the most important things I think to remember is the letter, well, not letter, but the chart. There was a meeting that they had, her and everybody that was involved in this. They sat down for a meeting, and she presented them with this list of things that she needed acknowledgement on, or she wasn't going to come back because everything had been like paused. They needed to do some reshoots and blah, blah, blah. So she said, look, I'm going to go through these things. And she's got 1 through 30. And she said all these things out and said, this can't happen again. And they said, their response was like, yeah, this stuff isn't very good. It can't happen again. This is, this is a problem. So she put that right in her first page because it's so important. So she sent these all out, and then things started getting janky when they started going through their press tour, right? So they're promoting the film, and there were just a lot of negative things that were being said about her that she's saying here in the complaint. And it did a lot of damage to her reputation, to her family. So we just kind of went through some of the examples, and I'll continue with the examples tonight to kind of finish up this fact piece before we dive into the law. And again, I think this case is incredibly important for so many reasons. And one of the big reasons, of course, is there are just so many different pieces of law that she's saying were violated that harmed her. So we've got factual background here. We were going through that. We had several different examples. I put some red flags out, or just some flags when it was like, wow, that's really out of control there. For a hostile work environment. And this is where we stopped. So we really just kind of started getting into the facts of the case. And after, a big introduction, well, I was just going on and on last night, I think, too far, or the other night. So it was too much. So we really didn't get too far, but I'm hoping tonight to be able to make it through quite a bit of her complaint. So again, as a friendly reminder, this is a complaint, meaning everything in here needs to be true because you don't want to file false information. Let me give a caveat for that. Unless you're Mr. Trump, you really don't have permission to file false information in your filings, everybody. Oh, thanks, John. Janky, yes, indeed. That's our word for tonight. Was I talking about Sasquatch the other day? I can't even remember. I think it was yesterday for some reason. I'm like, why am I saying these weird things when I'm on a live? But I can't help it. Like, all right, we're Sasquatching it. Oh yeah, we were talking about moving to Canada. We're going to go live with the Sasquatches. Mr. and Mrs. Sasquatch. Oh my goodness gracious. No, you can compliment. Just keep it friendly. Just, keep it friendly. Keep it friendly. Bigfoot in Arizona. Oh my gosh. It's been a long day. Oh, I understand. It's been, I feel like this day's lasted 2 months. So anyway, sorry everyone, again, my ADHD is like, what's happening? So here we go, back into this complaint. Again, everything in here needs to be true to the best of her ability. And then, of course, on the counterclaim, when we go and look through that and their answer, we're going to need to make sure we acknowledge that this is what they are thinking is true. And perhaps there will be some things in this complaint that are shown to be inaccurate or not true, just like in the answer, there may be some of those as well. That's one of the reasons why we have a jury, right? They're our fact finder. They determine which is more credible. And so if we have dates and times that are off, but the situation is pretty similar, or if the situation is completely different, that's what our jury is there to find. So we got to keep our mind open here, and as we walk through it. So let me go ahead and thank you so much, Michelle. Let me go ahead and label this. This is the Blake. Oh my gosh, I gotta nice spelling, everybody. Okay, Blake. For some reason, I keep calling her Gwyneth Paltrow, and that's not right. Lively, here we go. Lively complaint for her civil case. There we go. And I think there was some reporting that it's actually being set for trial in March, which is really soon. I don't believe that this will make it to trial that quickly. There are so many things that they need to work out, so many things that I think the pretrial motions in this case are going to keep it out of the courts for a while as far as the trial itself goes. So here's our sticky note, everyone, just to remind everybody, do you still think this will stay in the courts? I really don't know. I really don't know at this point. March of 2026. Oh, okay, okay. Maybe my year was off. I might have missed the year. That would make a heck of a lot more sense. So, yeah, I know VC is it's weird, but I like these so much. I was like, well, we'll do a couple days. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Typically, our courts, well, I guess our civil courts can put them out quite a bit, but we will see what happens. There's going to be a lot of big issues going on here. Uh, and one more thing, too, again, everybody to remember is that we've already got a situation where people are like, "Oh, she was lying and whatever." But again, we're just looking through the court documents. It's up to the jury to decide who's credible and who's not credible. So we'll kind of, yeah, same case tonight. So this is going to be the lively case. Now I've really I need to budget my time because we've got some movement in the Sean Combs case. I need to go through that as well. And and we had a filing in the Pulitzer Prize case, everyone, a filing that just came down yesterday. So if you'll remember, Mr. Trump is suing the Pulitzer Prize board for defamation, and that case has been ongoing for a couple of years now. This is in Florida, and they just did a filing yesterday. So, because they're wanting to put the case on hold while he's president. So, I think it's fascinating. I'll keep you posted on that one. So, let's dive on in and crack it open like a tauntaun. Let's see what's going on here. So, Mr. Baldoni objectified Miss Lively and other women by commenting on or criticizing their bodies as sex objects. Mr. Baldoni often referred to women in the workplace as sexy. FYI, this is set to be 18 or older tonight. When they expressed discomfort, Mr. Baldoni would deflect or try to pass it off, which undermined Miss Lively and others' concerns. For example, on one occasion that Miss Lively observed, he told a female cast member that her leather pants looked sexy when she arrived to the set. When she rebuffed his comment because she was uncomfortable, rather than apologizing, he brushed it off with, "I can say that because my wife's here today." Miss Lively felt embarrassed witnessing this kind of commentary, as did others. Now, one thing about this set of facts that we're reading through in Blake's complaint, Miss Lively's complaint, is I'm sure many of us, 85% of us, have been in a situation where this has actually happened to us, right? Where you've gone into work and someone has made a comment like this. I remember myself at the one of the law firms I clerked at, where I went in and one of the attorneys was asking me like what fabric my dress was. He's like, "Oh, is it silk?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm working here." I mean, we can all understand because we continue to go through these things. Next up, on another day, Miss Lively wore a low cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding, but had it covered up with a coat. When the jacket briefly popped open at one point to reveal the dress, Mr. Baldoni commented about how much he liked her outfit, which flustered Miss Lively. Later that day, Mr. Baldoni pressured Miss Lively, who was in her pre approved wardrobe, to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he said wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Consistent with past practice, he said, "I think you look sexy," in a tone that made her feel ogled, and exposed. With another female cast present, she said, "That's not what I'm going for." He bristled and replied, "I'm sorry, hot." Deeply uncomfortable, Miss Lively said, "Not that either." Now, one thing here to note is that we've got a witness. So that's always great because we can pull that witness up onto the stand to testify. Mr. Baldoni responded sarcastically, "I guess I missed the HR meeting," and walked away. Another woman on the production spoke to Miss Lively afterward to offer empathy and to share her own similar experiences with Mr. Baldoni, commenting about her in sexual terms. So we've got another witness here. All right. So again, we just keep our eyes on that. As a result, Mr. Baldoni's behavior, on May 29th of 2023, another cast member lodged a sexual harassment complaint about Mr. Baldoni's gross and unwanted comments towards her and others. So again, we have another, this is number 3 witness here. While on the one hand, Mr. Baldoni was objectifying Miss Lively as a sex object, on the other hand, he went out of his way to message criticism of her age and weight, neither of which she could change during filming. On the second day of filming, for example, Mr. Baldoni made the rest of the cast and crew wait for hours while he cried in Miss Lively's dressing room, claiming social media commentators were saying that Miss Lively looked old and unattractive based on paparazzi photos from the set. She tried to reassure him that she should look authentic in the scenes depicted in the photos, which were just after her character had been abused by her fictional husband rather than hot. Mr. Baldoni, however, appeared focused on Miss Lively's sexual appeal above all else. His lengthy outburst caused a delay in shooting, forcing an emotional scene to be shot haphazardly. Oh my goodness gracious. Yikes! Right. So, yeah, don't do that. You can't do this, everybody. That's not appropriate. I love how, too, when they always make a joke like, oh, I guess I missed that HR meeting. Like, you know, that's actually violations right there of that. So take it easy on that. Next, to make matters worse, when Miss Lively tried to have a meeting with Mr. Heath and the other producers to discuss Mr. Baldoni's unprofessional behavior described above, that meeting turned into yet another violation. Rather than an ordinary meeting, time and place, Mr. Heath arrived unannounced at Miss Lively's hair and makeup trailer while she was topless and having body makeup removed by makeup artists. Miss Lively told Mr. Heath that she was almost done and they could meet once she was clothed. Mr. Heath, however, insisted that if she didn't allow him into her trailer to speak to him at the moment, then there would be no meeting with the other producers. Miss Lively reluctantly agreed, but asked that Mr. Heath keep his back turned. A few minutes into the conversation, Miss Lively noticed Mr. Heath was staring directly at her while she was topless. When she called him out, Mr. Heath brushed it off as a habit of wanting to look at a person while speaking to them. Miss Lively and her hair and makeup artist were all deeply disturbed by this interaction on just the second day of filming. So we've got number 4 witness here, everyone. Yeah, I mean, I cannot roll my eyes hard enough. I know, it's pretty awful. All right, so throughout filming, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath invaded Miss Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Miss Lively often had to work while breastfeeding, as the rest of us did, which she felt comfortable doing so long as she was given the time and space to cover herself. She did this frequently because she was not given breaks to feed her baby. Footnote 9, Miss Lively was not given proper lactation breaks by Wayfarer during filming, which sometimes stretched into 6 hours without a break. Oh, ouch. When filming finally broke, Miss Lively would have to run to her trailer to breastfeed. The lack of accommodation for her need to express milk caused her to develop painful mastitis. Oh my gosh. And as any woman who has breastfed a child or an infant, you can't go 6 hours. That's a lot. It should be illegal. I agree. That's a lot, and that's extremely painful. So, no, there's plenty of dudes in here, man. All right, but Miss Lively did not expect or consent to anyone entering her private spaces while topless, exposed, and vulnerable with her newborn, or during body makeup application or removal. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath both showed a shocking lack of boundaries by invading her personal space when she was undressed and vulnerable. Mr. Baldoni also routinely degraded Miss Lively by finding back-channel ways of criticizing her body and weight. A few weeks before filming began, and less than 4 months after Miss Lively had given birth to her 4th child. Whoa, she's in there filming just 4 months? Wow. That's crazy. Miss Lively was humiliated to learn that Mr. Baldoni secretly called her fitness trainer without her knowledge or permission and implied that he wanted her to lose. Man, this is awful. Her to lose weight in 2 weeks. Mr. Baldoni told the trainer he had asked because he was concerned about having to pick Miss Lively up in a scene for the movie, but there was no such scene. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Yeah, yeah, So let's see. Number 10, in later text messages sent to his team, Mr. Baldoni referred to Miss Lively's trainer as a damn spy and sought to plant stories to portray his concerns as being motivated by his lower back pain. What the H? When Miss Lively caught strep throat, Mr. Baldoni offered as a gift to connect her with an expert he had on retainer to help her with probiotics and to combat the sickness. When Miss Lively went to fill out the privacy forms, she saw the expert was not what Mr. Baldoni had represented her to be, but was instead a weight loss specialist. Miss Lively felt once again that Mr. Baldoni was shaming her for her body and weight. For Blake Lively? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, are you kidding me? You going after Blake Lively on that after a fourth child? Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. This is a lot. This is a lot. Can I be a part of the lawsuit? No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath failed to implement COVID protocols when there was a COVID outbreak on set. Miss Lively was told by another producer that because Wayfarer did not have insurance coverage for COVID, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath deliberately withheld from Miss Lively that she had been exposed to COVID. Both Miss Lively and her infant child contracted COVID from the outbreak. Oh my gosh. Oh, sad, sad. It's janky. It really is janky. Miss Lively and others lodged grievances regarding the conduct of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, which Wayfarer declines to investigate. As the studio producing the film, Wayfarer was the employer of all of the cast and crew and was thus responsible for ensuring workplace safety on set. However, Wayfarer failed to provide Miss Lively with even rudimentary employment protections, such as an employee handbook. That's very important, and you need to read that, everybody. Sexual harassment policy information, or any training on sexual harassment, discrimination, or respectful workplace expectations. Yeah, that's like important. Wayfarer also failed to provide Miss Lively information about the process and procedure for filing human resources complaints. As the producer and owner of the film, Wayfarer was legally obligated to address HR-related concerns or complaints and by the way, this is going to be a big one. This is going to be a huge piece of the case, because if they determine that they did not follow those regulations that are legally required, then boom, you've already got one situation that's out of hand. As the producer and owner of the film, Wayfarer was legally obliged to address HR-related concerns, right? To Miss Lively's knowledge, however, Wayfarer lacked any process for responding to complaints about its leadership, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, who plainly were not going to investigate themselves. On May 26th of 2023, Miss Lively told a representative of Sony that she wanted to file an HR complaint about Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's misconduct. The Sony representative told Miss Lively that Sony, as the distributor of the film, was not empowered to control Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath's behavior on set, and that such concerns must be raised with Wayfarer, the studio responsible for the production. And if you'll note too, she does not list Sony as one of the defendants in this case, everyone, which I think is actually a big sign that this case really isn't about money, right? Because if you were going for money, you'd be going after Sony too. Wayfarer, Mr. Baldoni, and Mr. Heath received or were aware of a number of HR grievances regarding their conduct. For example, on the first day of filming, while attempting to hug Miss Lively's employee, Mr. Heath said, "I don't even know if we're allowed to do this. It's day one, and we have an HR report already." Yep, here's number 5 witness. Additionally, early in the production, another actress made a complaint about Mr. Baldoni's comments on her appearance. And number 6 witness. Mr. Baldoni expressly acknowledged her concerns in writing, stated he would adjust accordingly. Ooh, and we've got some evidence here. That's nice. Yet on June 8th of 2023, the actress informed Miss Lively that outside of anything in a scene, I actually cannot talk to Justin at all. Mr. Baldoni later expressed suspicion regarding Miss Lively's friendship with this actress, as if they were colluding against him. As described above, Miss Lively and others attempted to raise concerns to Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath regarding certain of the conduct described above during filming, but they were not addressed given the futility of asking Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath to address their own behaviors. After unsuccessfully attempting to raise concerns with Sony, Miss Lively expressly told Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath that there were serious HR problems on set. Mr. Heath responded that they knew, implying that someone had mentioned to them that Miss Lively had raised concerns. In response, Mr. Heath told Miss Lively that he thought she had wanted to see the nude video of his wife. And that's something we talked about last time, where I think he was showing his wife giving birth without any clothes on. Right. Okay. Tea break, everyone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In the same conversation, when Miss Lively expressed her upset, Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni had hidden the fact that she had been exposed to a COVID outbreak on set, from which she and her infant contracted COVID. Instead of acknowledging responsibility and committing to safety moving forward, they expressed upset over the production days missed and resulting costs. Despite receiving multiple detailed reports by Miss Lively and others about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's conduct, by the way, these reports are going to be amazing evidence for that jury. Wayfair failed to investigate those reports or to otherwise institute protections for the cast. This is so even though the incidents discussed above, among other things, did not take place in isolation, and many, if not all, were witnessed by others. Again, those witnesses are going to be key. Put in a suit that they want to give any winnings to a charity to show it's not about the money. A great question, and no. Typically, if they want to show that it's not about the money, they will ask for $1 or a nominal fee, which is what Taylor Swift did during her harassment trial. And they'll just say, we're only asking for $1. And then they'll use that to show the jury, like, we're not here for the money. We're here for the accountability. So that is something that could be here. Although I believe Miss Lively is saying she lost wages and she lost job and economic opportunities because of this. So she may actually have legitimate financial loss that she has had to go through here. By these and other behaviors, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfair engaged in harassing conduct and failed their obligations to investigate complaints of workplace harassment, to prevent inappropriate and harassing behaviors on set, and to provide avenues for cast and crew members to safely raise concerns to neutral parties so that they could be investigated and appropriately addressed. C. The parties negotiate a contract writer regarding Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's conduct on the set of It Ends With Us. So this agreement here is going to be amazing evidence again. That they went forward and said, we need you to sign this before we come back and do more filming. And then they did. I mean, that's going to be huge for a jury. On May 2nd of 2023, the Writers Guild of America, made up of 2 American labor unions representing more than 16,000 writers in film, television, radio, and online media, went on strike in connection with a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Does anybody remember that? At the time, it was such a huge deal, but I feel like when the time passes, we all forget. That was an enormous deal at the time. The film temporarily halted production in June of 2023 as a result of the WGA picketing. On June 15th of 2023, Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni announced the continued halted production of the film due to ongoing WGA strike and the lost days experienced from picketing. While the WGA strike was underway on July 14th of 2023, the American Actors Union, known as SAG-AFTRA, a labor union that represents about 160,000 people, in the entertainment industry, including actors, recording artists, radio personalities, and other media professionals, began to strike due to a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The WGA strike ended on September 27th of 2023, and the SAG-AFTRA strike ended on November 9th of 2023. Before returning to production, Miss Lively attempted to address and resolve the problems on set and requested that Wayfair agree to address the conditions described above. Again, getting this agreement, that's the smoking gun in this case, everyone. This agreement where they said, yes, we did these things and we won't do them again. I mean, that's huge. On November 9th of 2023, Miss Lively's attorneys provided Wayfair's attorney with a document entitled Protections for Return to Production, attached here to is Exhibit A. And that is that list, that 1 through 30 list that we talked about earlier, everybody. Morty. All right. Here we go. Let's just make sure. Okay, in conveying the protections for return of production document, Ms. Lively requested that Wayfair agree to implement a plan that would enable everyone to return to work and complete the film with adequate protections to ensure a safe set moving forward. On November 11th of 2023, counsel for Wayfair indicated that Wayfair, Sony, and production respectfully acknowledge that your client has concerns regarding safety, professionalism, and workplace culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all involved is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outlined requests, we find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. Again, this is that smoking gun moment here where they're saying, yeah, we should be doing that. On November 15th of 2023, Wayfair, through It Ends With Us movie, agreed to the terms in a contractual rider executed on January 19th of 2024, attached as Exhibit B. Sorry, everybody. So this, again, is another huge piece of evidence. I would say between these two pieces of evidence, it would definitely open the door to try to negotiate an agreement rather than taking this to trial, because those are going to be so impactful on the jury. All right, next. Among the contract writer's provisions, A, the first provision required an intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Miss Lively's on set. B, the second provision required that with respect to artists, any and all rehearsal, filming, reviewing, or video playback, or dailies, and or any other interaction with any scene involving simulated sex, nudity, and or partial nudity shall be restricted to those persons with essential business reasons for being present, as approved by Miss Lively and Todd Black, as further described in the nudity rider and attached as Schedule 1. So we again have this agreement on that, and that's a tricky situation, right? That's a really tricky situation. There was an actor, I'm going to pause here for just 1 second. There is an actor, a very well-known actor, and I think he's Australian, and very well known, and he was playing the lead in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, that particular play, it was a live play. You know, it's got a lot of levels to it, right? But the female lead character, he was making huge disparaging comments about her and her bits and bobs, and he was taking some scenes live way too far. And there was this question, like, we're in Rocky Horror Picture Show land here, so we've got this huge, already over-sexualized situation. So where is that line between, we're acting this out versus you've taken it too far. And so the courts were like, ooh, this is a struggle. This is a struggle to figure out where that line is. And eventually said, you crossed that line, and you crossed it because of all of this other background information. So when you put it all together to show intent, you went too far. So, we struggle. The courts struggle in this kind of a situation to figure out who, first of all, is more credible, as well as which actions are okay. I've never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. No, it's okay. It's okay. You got to see the original. I mean, Tim Curry. Come on, come on. Oh my goodness! But not with children in the room. But the point is, I mean, this is a legitimate legal question, legitimate situation. The third provision requires that there is to be no spontaneous improvising of any of the scenes involving intimate, sexual, physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity with respect to Miss Lively. So again, we're kind of in this situation where they're doing a scene and she's saying, look, we need to follow whatever it is that we rehearsed, and it's not appropriate for you to just come in and do whatever you want here. She's clearly saying that, just like the dialogue, right? You could say the same thing about dialogue. Like, listen, I'm not going to let you go down the road of saying whatever you want in this situation because, I got stuff to do. Let's get moving. And I know that that can be a problem for a lot of actors. So of course, if they're saying here, look, you can't go beyond what the boundaries are, is absolutely appropriate. Scenes involving Miss Lively that involves kissing, depictions of sexual intercourse, or any other intimate sexual physical touching must be contained in the screenplay. The most up-to-date draft approved by Miss Lively in writing, which I think is great because this dude has been adding a lot of stuff, right? Choreographed in advance in the presence of the intimacy coordinator and may only proceed as choreographed with the consent of all participants in advance, which again I think is one of the requirements anyway. The fourth provision required that physical touching and or comments on Miss Lively's physical appearance must only be made in connection with the character and scene work, not as to Miss Lively personally, except as written into the screenplay or as strictly required in connection with makeup or costume preparation. There's to be no physical touching, including hugging of Miss Lively, her on-set personnel, or her employees. Again, I mean, we're setting boundaries out here, and she's stating them pretty clearly. I don't feel like there's any question like, oh, can we do hugging? Well, no. I mean, I don't think so. Uh, attend live, right? I don't I don't know. I always think anywhere you can throw popcorn is a fun place. The fifth provision requires that there are to be no discussions with Miss Lively of personal experiences with sex or nudity, including as it relates to conduct with spouses or others. And I think that's a fair request. I would say this one and this one, fair request, but allow for some mistakes to be made. If you were arguing that from the other side. The sixth provision required that no one will enter, attempt to enter, interrupt, pressure, or request entrance to Miss Lively's trailer while she's in a state of undress for any reason. I would say again, this is another one that there might be a little room to wiggle, but not much. The seventh provision required that there shall be no rehearsal or filming of Miss Lively, including Miss Lively's approved body double, of any nudity, partial nudity, and or simulated sex, except as expressly permitted in accordance with the nudity writer. Any such footage of Miss Lively or Miss Lively's body double previously shot without the nudity writer in place may not be used without Miss Lively and her legal representative's prior written consent. So this one's really huge. This one is a situation where obviously they've got quite a bit of film on her, and before these agreements were made, and she's saying, I'm not going to let you use that unless you show it to me because I want to make sure I'm okay with that. It's like, is my throat too sore right now? For me, I mean, it seems fine, but for others, it's like grumbly. Am I like an old cigar smoker up here? Like grumble. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Is it bad, everybody? Oh my gosh. Now I feel kind of bad now. Can you understand at least what I'm saying? You sound fine. Just right. No. Okay. Okay. You sound great. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I hear you though. I hear you, Murray. Oh my gosh. Oh, the chuckles. That's funny. Just helps with your cough. I appreciate that, Murray. I appreciate it. I really do. Not bad at all. Okay, great. I'll let you all in on a little secret since our numbers are okay over here, which is one of the biggest problems that I have. Again, quick side note that's completely irrelevant. One of the biggest problems I have is that I've got a deviated septum. So when I'm sleeping, like my snores can like shake the whole house. And so I wake up and I'm like, gosh, my throat is so sore. And it's because of the snoring. And the doctor's like, we could take care of that deviated septum. And I'm like, what? No. I don't want surgery. But at some point, it may need to happen because it is wreaking havoc on my throat. All right. Well, that's information nobody asked for that I just volunteered. So you're welcome. All right. H. Here we go. We'll get through it. All right. The 10th provision required. That's the noise you're hearing. Oh, exactly. I mean, my cats even run. He didn't have surgery. All right, all right. Well, my cats are like, you're too loud. All right, 10th provision required there shall be no retaliation of any kind against Miss Lively for raising concerns about the conduct described in this letter or for these requirements. Any change in attitude, sarcasm, marginalization, or other negative behavior, either on set or otherwise, including during publicity and promotional work as a result of these requests, is retaliatory and unacceptable and will be met with immediate action. So this is another one that I think may be too far. So for our juries, this request might go to be too strict in setting out what behaviors are okay and what's not okay. So I would say, man, H is questionable. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying our jury might not enjoy saying this level of strictness. The 12th provision required that Wayfair will engage an additional experience A-level producer approved by Miss Lively, Todd Black is hereby approved, to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew. Now that's really smart. That's an incredibly smart move, is to get another person on the scene. For sure, for sure. Ensuring compliance with the schedule and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues, provided that company shall have the right to approve the agreement with the approved producer. I think that was very smart, very smart. The 15th provision required that any rehearsal or shooting involving Miss Lively or any other performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity, including partial nudity or simulated sex, must be conducted strictly in accordance with the nudity writer. It must adhere to the approved script. That seems absolutely appropriate in this situation. Try to breathe right. Oh yeah, the nose. Yeah, okay. I might try that. I probably should. See, it's like I forget about it every day. Sometimes I feel like I just wake up and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Like I don't even remember. Oh my gosh, I'll have to make a note to myself. All right, here we've got, I think, again, another reasonable request. So we have any rehearsal needs to have another one, and a provision again. Any and all day players that participate in any way in scenes with Miss Lively involving nudity, partial nudity, and or simulated sex must be engaged through customary industry talent agencies and not through personal connections of the director and or producer. Now this goes back, right, everybody that was with me last time, this goes back to him calling his buddy in to play the obstetrician when she was giving birth, right? And so he was like, well, you should not wear any clothes. And then, his buddy was like, yeah, I'll be the obstetrician. So I think that's also fair. I think this is something that a jury would understand as well. The 17th provision required that at Miss Lively's election, an all hands in person meeting before production resumes will include the director, the existing producers, Sony representative, the approved producer, Miss Lively, Miss Lively's designated representatives to confirm and approve a plan for implementation. of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Miss Lively, her employees, and all cast and crew moving forward. And they did have that meeting, so I thought that was absolutely fine. The all hands in person meeting provided for in the contract writer occurred on January 4th of 2024 before production resumed as described above. So that was that first piece here of the complaint. The meeting was attended by Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, producer Alex Sachs, producer Todd Black, and Sony's Angie Giannetti, as well as Miss Lively and her husband, who attended at Miss Lively's request as another designated representative, as provided for in the contract, given the subject matter of the meeting. So she had her husband come in. And I talked about this before. That can be really great and supportive in the moment, but put your husband on the stand to talk to the jury, and you may have some problems. But she may not even need him. Actually, there's so many people at the meeting, she may not even need his witnessing. So in these kinds of cases, it can be tough to put the spouse on the stand. Moving on, at the January 4th, 2024 meeting, the parties discussed a list of 20 examples of the behaviors that gave rise to the contract writer from her contemporaneous notes, which is incredible. Take notes, people. These behaviors are listed in full earlier in this complaint at paragraph 3. We went through those already. Neither Mr. Baldoni nor Mr. Heath denied the veracity of Miss Lively's examples, which is, that's one of the things that you learn early when you're working in law enforcement or in the legal world is, and this I'll give you this is a little extra bonus, everyone, is if you are not guilty of something and someone claims that you are, the innate human response most of the time is going to be like, you're out of your mind. This is complete bologna sandwiches. You're going to get really mad. Meanwhile, if you actually have done whatever the wrong is, it'll be like, really? Do you really think I did that? Oh, no, I didn't do that. So those two different kinds of behaviors can be used as a way to help figure out if someone is not being truthful. So that's part of my interrogation training. I would share with everybody. All right, back in it. Miss Lively requested that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agree that such behaviors would no longer take place as memorialized in the language of the writer. And Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agreed. So that's good. Production concluded, and Miss Lively and other cast and crew promoted the film according to the marketing plan. So this is where a lot of the problems came in here, was when they went out into public and tried to get ahead of it. But I think what happened was they went too far. Production of the film resumed on January 5th of 2024 and concluded February 9th of 2024. In connection with the film's public release, Miss Lively and the rest of the cast actively promoted the film in accordance with the marketing plan for the film. Attached here to is Exhibit C. Wayfair had embraced and on information and belief had formally approved of this marketing plan. The marketing plan and related talking points expressly required Miss Lively, as well as all other cast and crew, engaged in promotional activities to focus more on her character's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence, and to avoid talking about this film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. As detailed above, Miss Lively and fellow cast members promoted the film in accordance with the talking points and marketing plan during appearances on red carpets, interviews, press junkets, fan events, and pop-up experiences leading up to the film's release. Mr. Baldoni publicly embraced the marketing plan. In early May of 2024, Mr. Baldoni appeared at a floral-themed trailer launch event. Okay. Which included him personally making flower bouquets for influencers, a photo opportunity, and a film-branded latte art. As late as July 25th, Mr. Baldoni appeared at a pop-up of Lily Bloom's flower shop in Century City, California, where he held a long-stem rose microphone and playfully gave tours of the shop to influencers. In a TikTok interview posted that day, Mr. Baldoni excitedly walks through the pop-up and states he will be giving tours all day, every day until August 9th. Yeah. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni, given his on-set behavior. I think this could be another piece to really push, to put in front of that jury to show what's going on here. It wasn't just her. We could show a jury that there are multiple people feeling the same way, then it makes it easier for them to, see the victim's point of view. Right, harassment. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems. All right. So, okay, public separately, right? Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger under the surface on information and belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Miss Lively and others. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from a message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivors' reactions and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his own public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organizations. Right? So why would he be shifting that? To kind of like change the perspective people had about him, right? Ms. Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni that this shift might be too drastic too soon. Still, Mr. Baldoni insisted on a TikTok strategy, and that his promotional activities for the film should seek to amplify what he described as survivor content. Whoa, that's offensive. That's a little bit offensive, everybody. How attractive someone is, it dehumanizes someone. Exactly. And that safety, or being able to walk into a room and be like, I'm okay, I'm not, going to be jumped, goes away. And that's too bad, especially with the amount of anxiety that people hold on to these days, and rightfully so. All right, here we go. I'm going to just skip these texts, everyone. The team followed Mr. Baldoni's instruction. For her part, Miss Abel concluded, it doesn't feel performative now that you've done major substantial press on the topic. On August 11th of 2024, Ms. Abel laid out the posting timeline to Mr. Baldoni in the terms, stating, theater surprise, and then I think survivor content first thing tomorrow, and what then will be helpful for news cycle. By repositioning Mr. Baldoni's marketing of the film on information and belief, Mr. Baldoni hoped to create the false impression that he had chosen not to appear alongside other cast members. Mr. Baldoni directed his team to share on his public Instagram feed the private messages he had received from survivors sharing their stories of domestic violence with him. Mr. Baldoni's team talked him out of this idea, writing that they do not recommend using private DMs as content. Whoa, everybody. All right, so a couple things in here. First of all, would be we don't really know what his intent is. So, again, they're saying, well, he did this because he was trying to create whatever. That's not going to be a good strategy for a jury, because you can't read his mind. That would be objected to if that kind of testimony was requested, first of all. Second of all, though, this really sets out the impact of this, right? Because before we're like, oh, this actor guy, and he's a producer, he's got this company. But now looking at it like he's trying to promote, or he's trying to walk this line of being like, anti-domestic abuse, and I'm here to support women. Meanwhile, having all of these situations occur. So you can see why he would want to fight this if this is all true, because it would have this significant effect on his life, right? So that's another piece here. And then we have another text here. Mr. Baldoni went so far as proposing to share a video of a woman's birth moment, but his team talked him out of it. Oh my gosh. Stop sharing that stuff, guys. Oh my gosh. Nobody likes that. But his team talked him out of it, warning that it might be perceived as weird and was too intimate. Still, Mr. Baldoni's team was more than willing to deploy survivors' stories, reactions, and images to protect Mr. Baldoni's image. So it's all about the image, everybody. Yikes! Mr. Baldoni and his team formulate a retaliatory plan. So now we're turning the page, everyone. We're talking about this harassment issue, intentional torts, negligence. Now we're getting into the retaliatory conduct that is set out as one of the charges here in this case. So let's see what they're doing in this particular situation. Blake never read the book. Lori, do you think Blake needed to read the book in order to figure out if she was being harassed or not? I mean, is that what you're saying? Maybe I don't understand what you mean. She didn't read the book? Is that, I mean, she read the script though, right? Okay, yeah, heads up, Lori. We don't victim blame here. So you're free to hang out with us, but just, heads up. Whoop, and you're gone. Oh my goodness. It's gone. All right, stop. All right, sorry, I paused. We're back in it again to win it. Oh my gosh. What would I do without my amazing monitors here? I just don't know. Have you read his side? Well, we will be, Lori. I have the countersuit and I have the answer. So, of course, this is just a complaint. We're getting started here. But we also make sure to have empathy for our victims here. Next up, we've got the retaliatory plan. So Wayfair knew the details of Miss Lively's and others' concerns. The HR complaints raised regarding Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's behavior. Miss Lively's contractual rider and the January 4th, 2024 meeting to discuss their behavior. In addition, Wayfair's PR team knew about the claims, Miss Lively and others, as well as the protections rider, as Wayfair sent the materials to them in November of 2023. So I think that's important too, to see that we've got some. Okay, Lori, let me ask you this then. The texts are altered. So what? Does that matter? I mean, he brought his buddy in to put his buddy's face in her private area for hours while they're filming. Does it matter what the text says? I'm just curious. Let me just ask that question. Do the texts matter? No, I'm just curious. I'm bringing in my buddy, and he's going to put his head in her private area for hours. And even though she did not have any say in the situation and is naked, what does that have to do with the text? There's another side of the story. It's not always as it seems. I agree. But no, I mean, I don't think what's in the text is going to matter about that. Right. One step at a time, everybody. One step at a time. As early as May of 2024, Mr. Baldoni told his team that they needed a plan to get ahead of the claims against him in the event that they were to go public. Specifically, Mr. Baldoni wrote, quote, "Just want you guys to have a plan. Plans make me feel more at ease." All right. On May 17th of 2024, Mr. Baldoni texted his publicist, Jennifer Abel, that Miss Lively's husband had blocked him on social media, stating, quote, "We should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out." In June of 2024, a month after Mr. Baldoni's first promotional event for the film, Miss Lively and others in the cast fulfilled their first publicity obligation for the film without Mr. Baldoni. They did not publicly discuss the misconduct that had occurred on set, nor did they ever suggest to Wayfair or Mr. Baldoni that they intended to discuss their concerns publicly. Yet, on June 20th of 2024, Miss Abel texted Mr. Heath her concern. "We can't have fans starting to guess why JB is left out of this stuff." Likewise, Mr. Baldoni strategized with his publicist, Miss Abel, about various ways in which they might cover up or explain away his on-set misconduct. On June 24th of 2024, for example, Mr. Baldoni proposed an offensive move showing his neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it to explain that anything that he had been accused of was social awkwardness and impulsive speech. So here's another thing too, everyone, to kind of keep in mind. So he's pulling out the neuro divergence card. And, if you've got a card to play on the neurodivergence spectrum, there's go for it, right? Uh, but you have to wonder why this card didn't come out during the filming and during the meetings when she was saying, look, you're out of line, knock it off, sign the contract. Where was the neurodivergent language there? Because I feel like if there were some issues, he could have put in place a couple of things to kind of help give him signs then that he was out of line. Many times that can happen. He's claiming a disability for his well, right. I mean, of course. And, again, if we're erring on the side of this actually being true, there are things that you can do to set up some safety places or safety words, actually, to say, hey, you're out of line. Your social whatever issues are coming out and are harming. So this doesn't mean that you get out of any kind of accountability. It just means, yeah, let's acknowledge it. But why didn't we acknowledge it 6 months ago? Hello, desert skies. So, and again, I understand and I empathize with that. I am in the world of neurodivergence when I work with other people. And this, it's a significant issue here. But it's also not something that you keep to yourself for 18 months and then spit out at a press release. Having your brain work different does not lead to, well, exactly, Jennifer, exactly. And you need to you need to figure out what it is that you need in order to be able to be appropriate in public, right? Because you could say, I'm neurodivergent, and I worked on a case where there was a 5-year-old, very neurodivergent, and she was doing inappropriate things in public. And so it's like, well, we need to have some kind of a signal that you need to back off because this is not appropriate. Even though I understand, it's still not appropriate. Yeah, I don't understand the book comment. How does a book not being read equal anything? Yeah, okay. If you figure that out, VC, you let me know. I'm ready to be educated on that as well. All right, the same day, Ms. Abel reviewed again the agreed upon list of protections that form the basis for the contractual rider. On July 24th of 2024, Ms. Abel emailed Mr. Heath and others requesting the legal letter that was sent to Ms. Lively and her team, stating, per our conversation, we will go through point by point and draft context surrounding each situation. We can then flag what we are missing that would be helpful to arm us in the case we need to refute any of the claims. On July 26th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel, a Variety article about Francis Ford Coppola's inappropriate behavior on set during the production of his movie, Megalopolis. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Including his alleged kissing of cast and crew as described by unnamed sources in conveying the article. Mr. Baldoni stated, this is the shit that I'm sure they want to do, unnamed sources, etc. Right. Interesting. On July 29th, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel discussed a proposal to get ahead of any potential publicity regarding Ms. Lively's HR complaints against him with a social and digital combat plan. So again, you note, everyone, here when they're setting out like what was involved in these conversations, and you may say, well, how would she know, right? She's not there. But the fact that she specifically has a date means she must have some evidence showing that this stuff actually took place. Either another witness was there or there was some kind of piece of evidence created because of how specific the dates are. But there needs to be someone presenting that this actually went on rather than just, I think that this happened. I think that that happened. Now, if her dates are wrong, again, that's fine. But the fact that there are specific dates here as well. Right, right. Sorry, everybody. Tea break, tea break. All right, next up. F. Wayfair engages Melissa Nathan and the agency group on behalf of Mr. Baldoni to launch a retaliation campaign against Miss Lively. Now, a lot of these words here, a lot of the big trigger words like retaliation, if I was his attorney and we're going into trial, I would put that in a motion in limine and say that that would be a word that could taint the jury, and so be careful not to use it. But this again is a complaint, so we can use whatever language is needed here. Right. As film's release date of August 9th of 2024 drew closer, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Wayfair, Miss Abel, and others continued to pursue a strategy on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair to arm themselves against the possibility that Miss Lively or others might go public with the claims against Mr. Baldoni or Wayfair. This plan took shape with Wayfair's retention on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni of Melissa Nathan, which occurred around July 31st of 2024. Melissa Nathan is a crisis manager. Oh, that's interesting. On or about June 20th of 2024, Miss Nathan launched the agency group, PR, TAG. TAG markets itself as a team of crisis specialists and communications experts that redefines the rules of reputation management. TAG's website states at TAG, it's more than just creating a powerful narrative, it's knowing how to navigate that narrative towards continued success and lasting legacy. So I think these details here would again be persuasive for a jury to say, well, if you didn't do anything, why did you hire a crisis manager? Right? So that's going to be a big piece that they could put out in front of the jury. TAG's website states that it offers comprehensive communication services for individuals, businesses, and corporations looking to invest in reputation management and the growth of their unique public profiles. TAG specializes in crisis communications, having managed some of the biggest public facing crises to date and utilizing that fast paced reputation first mindset with all of its day-to-day clients, which span a variety of industries, including entertainment, media, business, and sports. TAG services include messaging and narrative development, media relations, crisis communications and management, and digital and social strategy, among others. Right. So, right. We've got a crisis manager. Like, can you just be a person and get a crisis manager? Or do you have to be like in the business? I'm just curious about that. Yikes. By July 31st of 2024, Wayfair had started to put together a timeline of events to be shared with Miss Nathan and TAG. So again, we're going to have to prove that this happened. So there must be some piece of evidence or witness that can back it up. Sorry, I'm late. No problem, Mel. Welcome on in. According to TAG's own planning documents, the purpose of Miss Nathan's engagement was to help Mr. Baldoni get ahead of the narrative. So that clearly is the document. So she's got this document. And mitigate bad press that might arise from Miss Lively's and others' HR complaints, becoming public by engaging in techniques such as, wow, we're really getting the inside scoop here, everybody, on how the people make sure that they have, oh my gosh, Bruce Wayne's mother, that's so true. All the moderators here are crisis management. Oh my goodness, that's so true. Oh, that's okay, Chris, no problem. It's okay. Crisis managers, also known as moderators. I love it. All right. Rapid response communications system and cataloging third-party advocates willing to provide a potential quote or engage with reporters on Mr. Baldoni and Miss Mr. Heath's behalf to mitigate negative narratives from a source outside of Wayfair. And then she does have that piece of evidence as Exhibit D here. The entire thing and have conversationally. I know. I understand. It is quite a bit different. As set forth above, on August 5th of 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Miss Abel a screenshot of a thread on X regarding another female public figure's alleged history of bullying many women. Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is what we would need." The next day, even though Ms. Nathan and Tag had already begun performing work on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Nathan's texts, a text chain with Miss Abel and Mr. Heath providing pricing quotes ranging from $75,000 to $175,000 for Tag's crisis mitigation services. What? I'm in the wrong business, everybody. I'm in the wrong business. Oh, the pin capability would be really nice, wouldn't it? I agree. Ms. Nathan explained the quotes as follows. Quote 1, $175,000 is for a 3 to 4 month period that includes website to discuss, full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audiences in the right way, starts threads of theories to discuss. This is the way to be fully 100% protected. This is making me really nervous now. Is anything that we're seeing out there actually real? Is everything just being spun by somebody, by some kind of oh, hello, thank you, so unique. Is it being some kind of like crisis people? I mean, I don't even know what to believe anymore at this point because there are all of these people in here doing all of this stuff. Quote 225K per month, minimum 3 months, as it needs to seed same as above. This will be for creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change narrative and stay on track. Ms. Nathan stated, all of this will be most importantly untraceable. Yikes, we don't want to hear that. There is a lot more to both of these quotes, but it's easier to discuss via phone in terms of capabilities and what I have personally experienced in and out of crisis scenarios. Yeah, I mean, is anybody else worried? Worried about that? Yeah. It is. I'm in a world of my own and it's scary. My goodness. All right, so here is the evidence where it's saying what they're claiming here. The Hollywood Reporter announced the retention of Miss Nathan and Tag on August 13th of 2024. That report stated in part, quote, the news comes days after sleuths flooded TikTok with speculation about an alleged rift between Baldoni and his cast and crew, including co-star and producer Blake Lively as well as Hoover. Chatter spiked when fans noticed Baldoni's absence from the joint press events and lack of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together. At the New York premiere, August 6th, some also pointed out that neither Lively or Hoover nor the rest of the cast follow Baldoni on Instagram, though he follows them. Ooh, so they don't follow him, but he's like, yikes, that's a really bad sign on the Insta, for sure. For sure. Like Meta Twitter. I agree, Willie B. I've got concerns. I definitely have some concerns with the Meta situation and the TikTok. All right, we'll kind of we're making huge progress here, everybody, but I'm noting the time. So let's go ahead and finish up another page or two here, and then we can do a little bit of a Q&A. On or around August 2nd of 2024, Miss Abel connected the contributor with Miss Nathan. Subsequently, Miss Nathan engaged directly with media sources on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair regarding Mr. Baldoni, Miss Lively, and the film. On August 2nd of 2024, Miss Nathan, Mr. Baldoni, Miss Abel, and others had a phone call to discuss the services that Ms. Nathan and TAG would provide for Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair. Subsequently, on August 2nd of 2024, TAG circulated a document to Mr. Baldoni and others entitled Scenario Planning It Ends With Us, as described above. See Supra here at paragraph 11, also Exhibit D. Of note, the scenario planning document states there are several potential scenarios at play here which we should be prepared for should Miss Lively and her team make her grievance public. Ugh. The scenario plan, see, it's the cover up that always gets you, everybody. It's the trail of the cover up that is the most damaging. The scenario planning document provides TAGs a recommendation to get ahead of the narrative. This included suggesting misleading messages that 1, production members lost their jobs due to Miss Lively's takeover, insisted upon involvement. So if we've seen any media saying that. 2, Miss Lively involved her husband to create an imbalance of power between her and Mr. Baldoni. Anybody saying that? 3, Miss Lively has a less than favorable reputation in the industry, which is huge. I've seen that all over the TikTok. 4, Miss Lively had a clear, likely motive to bully her way into buying the rights for It Starts With Us, the sequel to the film currently owned by Wayfair. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of. I mean, again, and it's being strategically put out there. The scenario planning document states that TAG could also explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in Blake's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. Upon review of the scenario planning document, Mr. Baldoni informed Mr. Heath that he was not in love with the document they sent. Not sure if I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. And then Mr. Heath responded, that's the most important part of this, is how quickly they can shut things down and place stories in your favor, which again reminds us of the National Enquirer situation with Mr. Trump in New York and Ms. Daniels. Later that same day, Miss Abel conveyed to Ms. Nathan and Mr. Baldoni was questioning whether the plan was aggressive enough, texting that, quote, Mr. Baldoni wanted to feel like Miss Lively could be buried. Miss Nathan responds, of course, but you know, when we send over the documents, we can't send over the work, will or could do, because that could get us into a lot of trouble. We can't write it down to him. So that's the first smart thing I've heard here. We can't write it down. Don't write it down, people. We can't write, we will destroy her. Oh, you just wrote it down. Imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. What? Oh my goodness. It's like the bad person that gives away the full plan. We're gonna have laser beams on sharks. Oh, all right, everybody. All right. So I will go ahead and pause the reading for tonight here. We made some huge progress, though. I think I'll probably just summarize the rest of this as we move forward, because it's time to kind of flip again and get the answer going and so on. And I do want to read through their answer and their countersuit, because of course we need to look to all sides, right? We've gotten quite a bit of information here from Miss Lively, and it's looking like multiple witnesses, multiple exhibits. And so it will be very interesting to see. And they wrote it down exactly, but don't write it down. Even Mr. Trump like eats the paper if you write it down. These guys are like, we'll just leave this out here. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, so the next piece will be coming in for the answer in that countersuit. So we've got a really good idea here that about what's going on from her side. Yeah. So no one can see your comments. John, one time now to answer your own question. Oh my goodness, John. Crisis management team. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, so what are our thoughts here? What are our thoughts? I mean, they created a lot of their own evidence, and they're joking because they're like, oh, we don't want to create our own evidence because we know we're doing something wrong. And then they create their own evidence and have, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Crisis resolved. We love that. We love that. So yeah, I mean, again, even there were a few things that were in the contract that I would say, "Mo, these are too far." But for the majority of the information here, I mean, this is definitely way more information than would actually be needed for any of these uh, charges here or complaints. So all of this extra information is helpful in putting the case together, but again, it's just so much information, so much evidence when only a little bit is really needed. And I think that was a strategic piece for her attorneys to kind of put as much as they could into the complaint to back up what they're saying, right? Are you getting that after this? You get some Tang. I recommend Tang. Comment section crisis management team. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. He's a creep, needs to learn. It's not, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is kind of an interesting situation though, right? Because of this like joking element, right? Like how many times do a lot of people say, "Well, I'm just joking." It's like, "Well, it's not. That's not joking. That's defamation, man." And so here it's they're pointing out where they're doing bad behavior and just laughing it off like, "Ha ha, HR." Like, "No, that's not funny." Right, right. So that's a very good point too. So very precise dates, witnesses, and crisis management. So I think again, a lot of times what happens, and again, this is like 2 years ago, and she's had 4 kids. So the detail, the dates and the times sounds like she wrote or she took notes about what was going on. That's going to be incredibly helpful. I always recommend that to anybody. If you're in a situation that feels a little hinky, just start taking notes and just, maybe won't need it, hopefully won't need it, but in the future, just take those notes so that you've got it. Because the wrongdoers are not taking notes because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. So why would they take note of it, right? So it's always good to kind of come in and even if you've got like a work calendar, just put a little note at the bottom of it. Not like a shared calendar, but your own personal calendar. And just put a little note like this was the day that this happened and this was the day that this happened. And you can build your evidence up that way. So, and they might come in and say, well, your day's wrong or your time's wrong or whatever. It's like, well, that's okay. Those little pieces, that's not what hangs the jury up. It's the actual content of what's being said and done in that moment. So, those little bits and bobs that aren't exactly perfect, that's okay. And a lot of people worry about that when they go to testify. They're like, well, what if I have the date wrong? Or what if I have the location wrong? It's like, that's okay. As long as you're being truthful, it's okay. That's not going to hurt your case. Right, right. Audio. Well, right. I mean, in this day and age, my gosh, yeah, there's audio, there's all that going on here. But in and again, would remind you of the Iraqi horror example I was giving you, where she is in these scenes where it's dicey. It's dicey. She doesn't have her clothes on. She is simulating certain things. Apparently, I've not seen the movie because it sounds really depressing. I'm more of a Disney person. But they are in this situation, which means, you've got to keep a real tight hold on boundaries so that they don't, whomever you're working with does not go past. And that's something that's really difficult, I think, in this industry. Found them when he was, yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Now, there was a guy, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. Oh, he's such a cutie too. He played like Xavier in the X-Men movies. I can't remember his name. He's Scottish. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Well, anyway, that guy, my story is getting bad, everyone. I can't remember his name. What was it? More of a Disney person too. I love it. Yeah, well, and you got to skip past the first 10 minutes. No, yeah, the young Xavier, the young guy. No, the young one. The Spider-Man guy. No, not, it's not Patrick Stewart. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall. James McAvoy. My gosh. I'm gonna fall off my chair because the story I have to tell you is gonna knock me out of my chair, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so James McAvoy. Ah, crisis averted. No, no, it's James McAvoy. All right, all right. So James McAvoy was one of the leading characters in this movie about this, nut job in Africa that did all of these really awful, awful things, right? And he played this character where like the bad man kind of befriended him, found him unique. And I can't remember the name of the movie either. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it was not the X-Men movie. It was a different movie about a dictator in Africa. Oh, I can't even remember which country in Africa, all right, but it was a great movie. And he did. The Last King of Scotland. Oh my gosh. All right, winner, winner, chicken dinner, Francesco. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh my goodness gracious. Right, The Last King of Scotland. That's a tough movie to watch. But here's where I'm trying to put my point. It's just like, let's get to it. But so James McAvoy, they were in Africa for quite a bit of the filming, and he has this love interest. Like, I'm not really seeing a lot of the film because, again, it's kind of a downer. But it was amazing. So he was working with an actress that they had, a local actress in the country that they were in, and they had to do a love scene together. And one of the things that he was talking about, and he did this full interview, and he's like, I don't think our industry is very clear on how far things can go, but also how far they cannot go. Because this actress that was playing opposite of him was like thinking that she had to do a whole bunch more stuff that would be, really uncomfortable for her. And she would have some, ethical problems with it, but she thought that's what she had to do because she's coming in on this big, huge movie, right? So it's like the role of a lifetime for her, and she's thinking she's going to have to go way further. And so McAvoy, one of the things he said was, he's like, we need to make it clear to our actresses and to anyone that, no, we're not going that far. We've got lines and industry standards and rules that need to be followed. And if you've got any questions about that and it's going too far and you're uncomfortable, then, there's rules for speaking out about it. And I just thought that was a great example of, there is a scene that's going to be an uncomfortable scene, but you don't have to throw yourself in front of the bus in order to complete what's needing to be done there. So I've got the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the James McAvoy story, everyone, that we can put together here as our learning situations. But if you pull that, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But again, it's James McAvoy, and he's really speaking up for his co-actor, where he's saying like, "Wow, just again." Speak up, say something when it's out of the realm of what you're comfortable with. Say something, tell somebody, so we can resolve it. So I thought that was really great how he did that. Came out in 2006. I think the lead actress was a young Kerry Washington. Right. So I'm not sure that the scene. Yeah, that's very mature of him. I know. Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly which actress it was that I'm referring to here, but she was from Africa. Did not have an understanding of the rules and stuff in there. But anyway, if you can go look it up on the tube of you, everyone. 2006. That's so weird. I wasn't even born then. Whoa, how'd that happen? Scene early in there where he gets together with a local girl who's like a non-famous. There we go, Francesco. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, winner, winner, chicken dinner, extra chicken tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I was gonna say it wasn't her; it was another local woman who just didn't know how far it was gonna have to go. Hi, Jaja. Good to see you. So again, I mean, Miss Lively here, on the one hand, they're like, well, you're gonna be doing love scenes, deal with it. But on the other hand, it's like there are boundaries, man, that need to be done. Buyouts, 8 months pain and effort to shrink the government. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I'll go into that at some point. I try to close my brain on the Trump situation at a certain time every night because I'm like, yikes, bar trivia night. Oh, exactly. Francesco, we're going to need you on trivia night, man. Oh my gosh. I robbed that bank last night at 5 p.m. Stop it, Murray. Stop. Don't ever admit it. Oh, anyway, so this is a fascinating case, everybody. I think this will be my last long read of it. I will kind of summarize the last little pages the next time we're dealing with this case. I would like to get the other side as soon as possible so that we're fresh with the details. So I will be coming to do their answer and their countersuit. I may skip around a little bit. Oh, that's okay, Estelle. That's okay. No, you don't need to be sorry. Very random, useful knowledge about films. Oh, we love that. We love that here. Francesco gets a prize. Ah, wait, did you? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So yeah, so the next time I come on, everybody, I want to kind of keep this fresh. We'll do the answer, we'll do the counterclaim, and compare it. And I'll probably skip through the other piece of that. I do want to go very carefully though through their facts. So with that, everyone, I've kept you here almost 2 hours now, almost. But super fun discussion, and thank you all again for your time and support over here and my crisis management team, which I'm always thankful for, for sure. And if I could send a chicken dinner out to Francesco, I would, but I can't. Anyway, I will be back again to do another live very soon. Is everyone finding the community tab okay to see what my announcements are for when I'm doing the lives? Is everyone able to find that one? Oh, you bet, Francesco. Thank you, Krista. Yeah. Yep. So again, okay, good. Thank you, Miss Julie. I am posting every day on there. So any time you're wondering if there's going to be a live or not, just hop on over there. Yeah, so the community tab is, you can pull up like videos, shorts, or whatever. There's like this list of tabs there, and there's one that's community, and I just leave a little message there. Yeah, and the community tab message also should show up in your notifications if you've got the bell under the heading on the right. Thank you so much, VC. Exactly. Okay, excellent. I'll make sure that I post every day so that we aren't wondering if there will be a live or not. So take care, everyone. I will go ahead and sign off for now. Thank you again for coming and hanging out, everybody. So I will catch you all on the next one, and have a great rest of your night.